G'day there guys, it's Connie here again and we are back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Alrighty folks, we're on relationship advice. This one was written by user My Life Is So Effed, and it's titled, I think my fiance's cousin's child is mine. My fiancée Sarah and I have been together for 3 years. She's actually my first serious girlfriend since middle school. I'll honestly admit I've been a complete piece of crap with women for most of my teens and 20s and pretty much used women. I'm saying this all to explain how promiscuous I was in the past. Sarah knows about my past and she's grown to accept it. We met at work and she hated me because she saw right through me, and after pursuing her for close to a year, she finally agreed to a date and the rest is history. We've been living together for 2 years now, and I've grown incredibly close to her parents too, and she also loves my family. The past 3 years have been the best of my life, and I'm so excited to spend the rest of my life with her. This weekend, her cousin and her family are in town. She's really close with her cousin Lauren. Miracle I haven't met her yet. I was always busy for one reason or another the few times she's visited in the last 3 years. So I finally met Lauren and her husband for dinner at Sarah's parents' place. She immediately stares at me a bit wide-eyed, and I can't help but think she looks familiar. We're all being introduced to each other, and Lauren, for the most part, seems to be acting normally, but she's still staring at me whenever she can. Sarah's parents then come in with Lauren's little boy, who's 5 years old. I'm looking at this kid and Lauren, and the only thing I can think of is that this boy looks like a carbon copy of me at his age, with some Lauren mixed in. I'm suddenly starting to remember that I took Lauren home from a bar close to 6 years ago, and I also remember convincing her to not use protection after I showed her my blood work. I'm just a sweaty, nervous mess for the rest of dinner, and I think Lauren realizes from how she looked at me and the boy that maybe I realized too. And an even more effed up part, I think Lauren was visiting Sarah the weekend I took her home. They probably had a girls' night out that weekend with their friends, and I took Lauren home, so Sarah was probably at the same bar that night. Sarah asked me if I was okay, and just told her I wasn't feeling well. I didn't go to work yesterday and today, and just took sick days. I don't know what the F to do. Lauren obviously isn't saying anything. I have no clue if she was married at the time, and I don't want to ask Sarah because I don't want her getting suspicious about me asking. I don't even know how I feel about possibly being a father. I'm 95% sure this kid is mine. It looked nothing like the husband. Do I just shut up? I never cheated on Sarah, obviously, but she knows how much of a player I was, and it took her a while to get past my number. I don't know how she'd react if she knows I knocked up her cousin years before knowing her. This is vain and superficial about Sarah, and I love her to death, but she obviously hates if something is considered trashy or low class. I honestly think it's possible she'd leave me if I knocked up her cousin. I can't lose her. She's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. Opie comments further. My only goal is keeping Sarah. Honestly, in my state of mind the last few days, I don't care about anything else. My ideal situation is Sarah doesn't leave me. That's all that matters, and I'll do anything to make sure she stays. I don't know how I feel about the kid. He seemed happy with his parents. They live several states away. Sarah wants kids in the future, maybe 3 to 4 years. I searched Sarah's calendar for the kid's birthday, and the timing works out. Frick. One commenter says, I'm guessing a lot of the commenters on this are men. I'm a 52-year-old woman. The number one most important thing in a relationship for me and for all of the women I know is trust. Honesty, trust, and having each other's backs. This is why women sometimes can't forgive cheating. It's not the sex, it's the breach of trust. If you were my boyfriend or husband, I would want you to put me first before Lauren, meaning literally come to me first, like, I have to tell you something that's really stressing me out. You know how I told you I had a lot of irresponsible drunken sex a few years ago? When I met Lauren the other night, she looked really familiar. I'm so ashamed to tell you this, but I'm pretty sure I hooked up with her in month of X year. I'm not sure if she recognized me, but I think she might have. I felt like she was looking at me strangely. I was so stressed out about it, I lied to you and said I felt sick. Well, that wasn't really a lie because I wanted to puke, and I'm still completely sick about this. I can't bear to lose you, but I can't lie to you and not tell you about this. Please help me figure this out. What should I do? Then let her go through all the stages of figuring this out with you. Let her say, "Oh my God, is that your kid?" while you put your face in your hands and moan. If you do what all these guides are suggesting and try to do damage control and go talk to Lauren behind your girlfriend's back, you're completely effed. It's not the crime, it's the cover-up. If you talk to Lauren, figure out if you're the biological father, and then drop the whole story on your girlfriend, there's no way in hell she'll ever believe that you just figured this out now. She'll feel doubtful about what you knew, when you knew it, how you feel about Lauren, and when you last slept with Lauren, etc., etc. If you want a life with Sarah, go to Sarah and ask for her help. If she dumps you, she is only dumping you for something you already told her about, your past behaviour, and if she got over it once, she might even get over it again. Right now, you are in the most forgivable, least guilty position possible. You have never lied to Sarah about your past, and you aren't going to start now. You did not turn your back on your child or the mother of your child. You did not know. If this kid was your baby, you weren't informed at the time. If Sarah and Lauren are close and Lauren did have a pregnancy and conceal it from the biological father, Sarah may know all about it and may be aware the biological father wasn't notified. Oscar Wilde once said, "Ignorance is like a delicate flower. Touch it and the bloom is off." Women are insanely perceptive of micro-expressions on their partner's face. If you find out anything and hide it from her for 24 hours while you think about it, she will already feel in her bones you are lying and don't trust her. She's probably still wondering WTF was going on with you at the party. If you do anything else besides go to Sarah first, you're most likely done for. Trust that your partner can love you enough to get through this with you. Tell her ASAP before Lauren comes forward and says something. If by any chance Lauren is passing your biological kid off as her husband's kid, she may try taking some defensive actions. Who knows what? Or maybe Lauren will tell your girlfriend it's you, and that's why you acted sick at the party. Oh my God, don't roll the dice. Go to her, throw yourself on her mercy, and ask for her help. Like others have said, if you and this kid share some DNA, the chance of him figuring this out in your lifetime is extremely high. Rip the band-aid off and deal with it now. Yeah, I feel like that comment kind of just hit the nail on the head in every aspect. What more needs to be said, right? Let's go to an update. After 3 days of staying at home and feeling sick to my stomach with nervousness about this, I finally told Sarah late last night after my last post. Thank you so much to one user because that post gave me the push to spill my guts. As embarrassing as it is, I cried from beginning to end, telling Sarah and pretty much told her I don't want to live without her. She held my hands in bed and patiently listened about how I recognized Lauren, remembered our night, and how seeing that kid mentally broke me because I saw my future with Sarah jeopardized as soon as I saw him. She told me she's upset I didn't tell her as soon as we left her parents' place and to never keep something like this from her again, but she understood I was scared. She said she's not leaving me because I never betrayed her in the last 3 years we've been together, and we'll figure this out too. And she said she'll reach out to Lauren herself and figure out what's going on, because she's been with her husband for 10 years now, and if she's my one-night stand from years ago, she definitely cheated. We then had an even more uncomfortable talk about the type of things I've done in my past, and wanted to know if there's any more surprises she needs to be ready for. She said she knows I was promiscuous and a bit of a reckless idiot, but we kind of swept everything under the rug when we got together because we both agreed we wanted a fresh start. And after this fiasco, that might have been a bad idea, so she wants to know everything in detail now, but we can have that talk another time. I don't feel great about this, but I'll deal with this hurdle when it comes up. Sarah has been home with me trying to get in touch with Lauren since the morning and has been completely getting stonewalled. Finally, Lauren texted her to, quote, "Please just let it go." Sarah asked her again if they could have a quick chat or even if text is okay, but Lauren insisted to just let it go please. I'm guessing Lauren realized I told Sarah everything. We don't know how to proceed from here on out. We're deciding to just respect her wishes and not pursue this further. Lauren also just changed her response to our wedding invite to a no-show. Sarah is kind of upset by this, but honestly, I'm fine with this outcome. We always planned to leave the US in a few years anyway. I got a lot of messages asking me to just shut up, and I was honestly ready to go that route, but I think the worry was actually physically making me sick. Anyway, thanks everyone for the advice. Much appreciated. Wow, yeah, wouldn't Lauren love to let this go? Sounds like she cheated and she doesn't want the information getting out. Let's check out some more comments. Now you are thinking about this correctly. What is best for everyone involved? You have competing moral imperatives here. The right of the father to know the truth and the well-being of the child, not in the sense you're responsible for the kid, but in the sense that you know your choice will affect the kid. I do not know what is right to do here, but you're not wrong to think that the kid having a better life if you never say anything is a relevant consideration. Does it outweigh the husband's right to know? Not sure, but ignore everyone telling you this is such an obvious decision because the father's right to know is clearly the only relevant factor, and he is that kid's father, although he would also have the right to stop being so if he found out the truth. The best case scenario for the kid is that no one else ever finds out. Trying to achieve that best case scenario is a reasonable option. Opie replies, "Thank you for your post. This is how we're trying to look at it too. A terrible situation, but trying to make it our decision with the kid's best interest in mind." Another comment says, "You will drop a nuclear bomb and literally life-defining moment on this kid if you ever bring this up to the husband. Don't listen to any of these posts telling you to do this. It's beyond selfish and moronic. In fact, it will cause a complete family implosion and extended family implosion too. Sarah's parents will never look at you the same. Last thing you need is to expose all of this over a hunch you think this child is yours. Reddit seems really interested in you blowing up multiple families in a kid's life over a hunch. I'm going to break it down for you. You don't know that you're the father. You're just thinking you might be. In reality, you don't know that yet. This is 100% on Lauren. You did your part. Sarah now knows. There's no secrets between you, and she can use this information how she sees fit. Lauren's relationship with her child is her business. Maybe she feels she needs to find out. Maybe she doesn't. It's not your role to interject. You are not this kid's dad. You don't even know him. Reddit is giving you horrendous advice. Don't take it. Can you imagine if you brought this up to her husband? He leaves because he thinks you're telling the truth. Kid is shattered because dad isn't in his life anymore. Not to mention Sarah's family hates you for this, only for it to come out later that you're not the father. Opie, you did the right thing telling Sarah. Lauren wants to bury the hatchet, and if Sarah wants to do this as well, then let it be. Do not confront anyone over this. You don't have all the facts, even though you think you do. All you know right now is that Lauren cheated on her husband with you roughly 6 years ago. What you don't know is if that child is yours. Don't assume that you do. Opie says, "This is how Sarah and I are seeing the situation too." Opie comments further, "And honestly, maybe it's possible Lauren's husband knows she strayed and they moved past it and she doesn't want to revisit. She didn't really want to talk to us, so we don't know. I'm trying to move past this situation without hurting anyone." I agree the situation is messed up and I would like to know if my partner ever cheated, but the fact of the matter is this will likely destroy an otherwise happy family. Both Lauren and her husband are incredibly successful in their fields and live in an affluent area and can provide the best life for the kid, while Sarah and I are still building our careers and about to begin our own lives. And people have been asking whether I care about the kid. Yes, of course I do. I saw myself when I saw him, but I don't even know him. I'm okay with not being in his life, and if in the future he somehow finds out and decides to find me, we can deal with it then. But right now, I'm fine staying at a distance and seeing him through Facebook pics and starting my life with Sarah. I hope that didn't come off as heartless, but I'm truly thinking about what's best for him. And on the blood work comment, I didn't pressure her. I requested it and pulled up my phone and showed her my latest blood work. Medical labs email you your results these days. She said she was clean too, and that's it. Hugely irresponsible and stupid on my part, but I was a different person back then. Yeah, without a doubt, that'd be a really tricky decision to make. Like, do you tell the husband that his wife cheated on him 6 years ago? Or do you keep it a secret and, the kid ends up growing up in a house that isn't broken? What would you guys do? Let me know down below. Okay, now for the final update from OP. I've had literally dozens of people messaging me asking for an update. Sarah and Lauren have been texting since my last update. Mostly Lauren apologizing because she won't be coming to our wedding. She also sent us some wedding and Christmas gifts, which was very sweet of her. Sarah didn't really push her for answers, but left an open invitation to talk whenever Lauren felt comfortable. A few days before Christmas, Lauren FaceTimed Sarah and told her everything. Her and her husband were going through a rough patch in their wedding at the time. He had an emotional affair with a co-worker, and they were separated for a few weeks before reconciling. Lauren met me early on during the separation when we had our one-night stand. She told Sarah I'm the only one she ever hooked up with during this separation. Soon after she realized she was pregnant, she reconciled with her husband. They had been trying with no luck, so just decided to raise the child as their own. Lauren said she's told her husband and it's caused some turmoil in their marriage, and they're working through it now. He knew about this nameless, faceless man, but seeing me in the flesh and knowing after the fact that I'm the one guy has been a bit traumatic for him, and he's feeling very insecure. So unfortunately, he never wants us to ever interact or be in the same room again. I was listening right out of view from the camera, but I couldn't help but ask Lauren if this means I can never see the boy. She just said she was sorry. She told Sarah she'll talk to her later, and that was it. They've still been texting, and it seems Lauren and her husband will be okay with some time. Now we have to always coordinate that we're not coming to family events at the same time. Sarah and Lauren have already made plans to meet themselves, though. As far as Sarah and I, we're doing okay. We had one pretty bad fight a few days after the last post went up. She wanted to know in excruciating detail everything about the type of guy I was before. Honestly, felt like a CIA interrogation at one point. She cried and told me she wished she fell in love with someone else, which hurt a lot. She apologized the next morning, and we've been doing a lot better now. I think we're stronger now, in fact, now that she knows everything. I'm also never ever doing that ancestry testing services all these companies do. I've also gotten a much better paying job that's fully remote. Sarah will talk with her boss to see how she can convert to full remote as well, which we think is possible. We might be leaving sooner than we thought. That's it. Thanks everyone that provided advice, especially after the first post. Okay folks, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, I'm not sure whether to be alarmed or relieved that she, slept with another guy during this break or whatever, but I don't know. I guess the good thing is that Lauren and her husband have talked about these events before, and they're on top of it sounds like. It'd be interesting to see what they're going to do about the kid though. I mean, one day he's going to grow up and realize his dad doesn't look like him at all, right? What do you do then? Difficult conversations, I'm sure. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this one. Let me know down below. Anyway, let's move on to another story. Okie dokie, we're jumping over to Am I the A-hole? This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Would I be the a-hole if I ask my stepkids to move out? My husband, 40 male, and I, 34 female, have been married for 4 years. I came into my stepdaughter's, 16, life when she was 10. Both her and my stepson, now 12, were somewhat neglected and have had behaviour issues when I met them. My husband and his ex aren't bad parents, but he travels a lot for work and she is a bit flighty and self-indulgent. My stepdaughter and I hit it off real well, and I love both my stepkids. We all co-parented well, with me taking on a more active role in their school and other stuff. Both husband and his ex-wife were satisfied with me doing the grunt work for kids. They both travel a lot, and I became the sole parent who was fully engaged. I own a 3-bedroom house I'd inherited from my parents, and husband and kids moved in to live with me. Kids love their rooms in our home and their lives in our town. The custody arrangement they have on paper is 50-50, but their mum doesn't have as much space as I do, so the kids are here almost full-time. A few months ago, I came back from an overnight school field trip with my stepson to a very distraught stepdaughter. She found her parents together in my bedroom and was upset about the cheating. I was devastated to hear this from her. After some sleuthing, I found out that their affair had been going on for months and possibly a whole year. I've been trying to get pregnant for the past 2 years, and we were having very frequent sex, and realizing that my husband was sleeping with us back to back was especially nauseating for me. I've filed for divorce and asked for him to leave. He doesn't want this marriage to end and seems somehow convinced that I'll change my mind, but he agreed to a separation and has moved out to an apartment. My stepdaughter was mad at both her parents and wants to continue living with me. Neither of them are taking any steps to move out the kids who are still living in their rooms and living their lives as if their family hasn't imploded. I'd have been happy with having the kids with me, but my problem is that both my husband and the kids' mum feel at liberty to come into my house whenever they feel like it because their kids are here. She feels no guilt about the cheating and acts as if I'm the interloper. She treats me like I'm their nanny, expecting me to continue taking care of things for the kids and leaving me with instructions and criticisms. Meanwhile, my ex frequently drops by under the guise of seeing the kids, but keeps trying to cajole me into letting him move back. I love my stepdaughter and I don't want to do anything to hurt her further, but I can't take living like this. The amount of hurt and anger I feel towards my husband and his ex-wife is too much, and it's painful to have to keep dealing with them. The absolute cheek of them to treat me like this is making my head explode, but I don't know what to do about the kids. Everyone in my life is expecting me to suck it up and do what's best for the kids. I love them, but this is becoming unbearable. Yeah, wow, I mean, no way I would let these people dictate my life like that. Like Opie said, the absolute gall of them to act like this. I think Opie ultimately needs to get out. I'm sure the kids will understand in time. Let's see the comments. Not the a-hole. It's sad, but you're 34 and want a family of your own. So to do that at some point, you have to be able to move on and meet new people, which you can't do in this situation. You would not be the a-hole. You can remain a part of these kids' lives, but your husband and his ex-wife aren't respecting your boundaries, so they created this situation. That said, have you spoken to a lawyer about this? You may be able to make a custody arrangement that requires your husband and his ex to make an appointment with you, instead of just barging in whenever they feel like it. A visit with a family therapist would probably be useful too. These professionals have seen all sorts of messed up family situations, so they'll probably know how to advise you. Take care, and good luck. Not the a-hole. Holy cow, those poor kids. It's great you took on a role for them they clearly needed. However, they need to go back to their parents now. Change the locks, tell the kids their parents aren't allowed inside without your permission, and let them firmly know they need to be out over the weekend. Help the kiddos pack up, say your sorries and goodbyes. The adults who made the kids are responsible for them, not you. Call police or CPS, DCS, local child services. Tell them you will, and follow through. Sorry this all happened to you. Those poor kids do not deserve this. Okay folks, on to the first update. I tried submitting an update to Am I the A-hole and that didn't go through. I'm posting the update here because I'd like some support and suggestions, and you've been so helpful in the last post. I read all the comments, but things blew up in my face soon after, and I was offline for a while. Following the advice given, I talked with different lawyers to see what I could do in this situation. What I found out wasn't very promising, and the lawyer retainer fee for a custody fight is too high. With the separation, my money situation is pretty tight, and I couldn't afford to chase this issue legally. I've been stressed and working late these days. The day after I made the post, I was going to be late home and had asked stepdaughter to reheat the frozen lasagna I had made for dinner. When I arrived home, it was to both of the kids having a meal with the ex and their mum. I'll call her M. M has decided to turn it into a family dinner and set out the food I made on my formal dining table with my nice dishes. She had created a pretty family moment with her and ex under my roof. I completely lost it at that point. I regret to say I behaved abominably, screaming at her and my ex, and told them to get the hell out of my house. This happened in front of stepson, who was pretty shocked. So far I'd kept him out of most of this mess. After my breakdown, I needed some time away, so I drove out to spend the weekend with my cousin. Stepdaughter wanted to come with me, and we left stepson with his dad. Stepdaughter was so sweet to me and very understanding of why I was upset. She hadn't invited her parents. Her mum had shown up, and then she invited ex for dinner. Stepdaughter hadn't anticipated that I'd get this upset. Frankly, I'm surprised too that I blew up like that. That's not the typical me. After we got back, I let Em know that she shouldn't come over anymore, and if she did, then I'll report her for trespassing. Em didn't believe me and showed up to talk, and I lost it at her, and this time I did call the cops. They nicely asked her to leave, and she did. Stepson was very upset at me for this. Em showed up again the next day acting all sweet and telling me that I'm being unreasonable. Unfortunately, I became pretty unhinged at this and swore and yelled at her. Stepson shoved me and screamed at me to shut up. I fell on my butt and was shocked into silence. Em was pretty surprised too and left immediately, whereas stepson ran and locked himself in his room. He called his dad to come get him, but he was out of town, and Em ignored his calls. Stepson is a very loving kid, so his reaction was very heartbreaking. I understand where he's coming from though. Em is his mother after all. Em is also a very pretty person who comes across as very sweet and delicate. She's the type of woman people jump to help. It's natural that stepson would feel protective of her. I hadn't expected that he'd turn on me though. The rest of the week was bad, with stepson angry at me and refusing to talk to me. When his dad got back in town, he came and got him. Stepson told him he didn't want to live with me anymore. A few days later, X wanted me to take back stepson, but the kid didn't want to come back. I told X I will not force him, and X got pretty mad at me. He wanted me to fix the situation somehow. When I refused to make stepson stay with me, X became pretty mean. He said a lot of ugly things, the worst being that he's relieved I didn't get pregnant because I'd make an awful mother. I was afraid of things turning out this way, but I've got X and M out of my house, and that's a relief. Stepdaughter is going to live with me till she moves out to college. X is struggling to find childcare for stepson and is so angry at me that I think he'll not slow down the divorce anymore. I want to fix this with stepson, but a big selfish part of me is afraid to do anything that'll bring his parents back into my life. I really don't understand M's actions and motivations in all of this. She wanted to sleep with X and I'd walked out of the picture and it was all hers. If she wanted her kids, it wasn't like there was anything I could do about that. If she didn't want her kids, I was already taking care of them. But she'd keep violating my boundaries with a smile on her face and be all surprised that I'm not happy about this. Right now, neither her nor X want to be the daily parent to stepson, but he's angry at me enough that he doesn't want to choose me. I feel so crushed about that. Yeah, I don't know, maybe they were just using OP for like free childcare or something. Let's go to another update. Nothing of consequence has happened on the legal front since my last post. Emotionally, it's been a lot of ups and downs. A lot of people messaged me suggesting that I should let stepdaughter go, and it's not healthy to have her staying with me. That may be so on paper, but it's not something I want to do. I met X a few years after my parents' death. I was very close to them and they passed away one after the other. I suffered from a lot of depression from grieving. My boyfriend at that time dumped me and I lost a lot of friends. When we started dating, I was coming out of my sadness but was still very lonely. Stepdaughter and I became each other's support very quickly. She felt neglected by her parents and had resentment towards them, and I suppose she loved the attention I gave her. I found her to be a loving kid and I liked bonding with her. Stepson and I were close too. While he loved his mum, I did kind of assume that he was closer to me. One of the resentments that stepdaughter held against her parents was that they were uninterested and dismissive of her extracurriculars that led to her failing in some activities she was very passionate about. She's into a sport I was familiar with, and I spend a lot of time training with her and taking her to events and classes. She's very good at it now, and it's going to be a source of scholarships for her and possibly get her into the college she's interested in. She is hardworking and ambitious, and I want to support her as much as I can. She's promised to keep her parents out of our home, and I hope she sticks with that till she leaves for college. X has been very angry and ranting at me in messages. I've stopped answering his calls and I don't reply to his emails. I've told him the only subject I'll discuss with him is divorce, and only through my lawyer, so he's been bad-mouthing me to a lot of our mutual acquaintances. A couple of people have gently chided me for abandoning stepson. One went so far to say that women who become stepmums should know what they're signing up for, and a real mother wouldn't leave her children. I'm not good with conflict and haven't been able to respond properly. I've pretty much isolated myself from people so I don't have to listen to comments like these. M is still blocked by me, and she hasn't made any more efforts to communicate with me, and that's a huge relief. A week after the last post, sister-in-law came down to see me. She lives 3 hours away, so I was pretty apprehensive that she was going to drive down all the way over here to talk to me. I asked to meet in a restaurant and she agreed. I was also worried about talking to her, because while she's been polite and nice with me, she was and still is M's friend. She told me X had urged her to talk to me about stepson, and she completely disagrees with him about that. She said I've been a great stepmom to stepson, but he's not my responsibility. X was honest with her about his affair, and she supports me getting divorced. She said a lot of supportive things to me about moving on and looking after myself, and also thanked me for taking care of stepdaughter still. That was nice, but then she went on to add that she wasn't surprised by the affair at all. She was surprised that X married me. She was like, you should have seen this coming. Though she didn't come out and say it, the insinuation was that M is so much better than me. She's prettier, more successful, more charming, and X would jump on the chance to be with her. That was just great to hear. Peachy. Though it's easy for me to accept now that I'm not the smart one here because I didn't see it coming at all. I was happy and in love with my family. The upside to that meeting is that X has stopped harassing me. I haven't heard anything from him since, and I think he's stopped talking about me to others too. I don't have anything on stepson yet, though stepdaughter told me he's alright and waiting for summer vacation to start. A few of you said that M might have been interested in taking my house. I don't think so. She does alright by herself and has a good career. She has a rather spendy lifestyle and lives in a very fancy 2-bedroom apartment in the city, while my house is in a child-friendly but staid suburb. I hope things continue to be quiet because I need to get my head straight and focus on work or I may get fired, and my job is the one thing going for me right now. Moving forward, another quick update. We had a court date and the judge ordered mediation and put this off for a few more months. I was hoping this would be a wrap-up. After all, we don't have kids together and I want nothing from the ex. I didn't bring up custody for stepdaughter or stepson and he didn't either. All I want is a divorce and to walk away with what I brought in, my house and my car. X isn't fighting for those, but he's still saying he doesn't want a divorce. What the hell, man? He's left me 2 messages asking to talk. I've ignored him. The mediation will be over Zoom, which to me sounds more comfortable than in-person meeting. Stepdaughter and I are doing well living together. M is silent. Nothing from stepson so far. Yeah, what's this guy doing clinging on to this marriage? Is he delusional or something? On to another update. I am divorced. Papers are signed, judge has signed off, it's done. I'm so relieved. I was scared that this would drag on for longer. The first mediation meeting was a crap show, with X trying to talk at me that we should go through marriage cancelling. The mediator was a very firm woman who kept the conversations in control though. We had a couple more mediation emails and he agreed to sign off. I was still nervous about how it'd go today, but X played nice and signed off on everything. A very nice surprise was that he voluntarily gave me our entire joint savings account. I was not expecting that. I had asked for half of it, though in reality he has put more in than I did. I'd have been okay with just taking my portion, but he surprised me by giving me all the money. It was our emergency savings, so not a rich amount, but a nice high 5-figure number. I'm so relieved about it. Money had become tight with lawyer fees and changes, and this helps. Emotionally, also it made me feel better about myself. I may be wrong, but my heart wants to read this as his acknowledging that he screwed me over, and I deserve something back. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? He could be finally starting to feel guilty about what he did. On to another update. Okay, not really an update, more like a vent. I can write things down here that I can't talk about in real life. I'm making a big show of being happy and social and carefree to people in real life, but honestly, I'm so damn miserable and sad. The first couple of months, I soldiered on out of pure spite and determination to remake myself, but it's devolving into sadness. I've been avoiding hearing anything about X or M, but stepdaughter has been having some issues, and she vented to me about how mad she's at her parents, mum mostly. X and M didn't last long. They were having fights and issues well before my divorce finalised. M immediately started dating someone else, and from what I hear, she's happy in this current relationship and is so into it she hasn't even met either of her kids in the past 2 months. Only video calls. X had to juggle a lot of things to adjust his work schedule and get dependable childcare for stepson. He's dating too now, a much younger woman. X and M used to co-parent well, But I guess I was the one really doing that, because right now they hate each other and hardly ever talk. One would think that'd make me happy, seeing them fall apart from each other, but it's only making me more angry. My life was ruined, the kids' happy home was destroyed, and for what? I miss my old life so much. A lot of it was a lie, but I was so happy and full of purpose then. I'm just feeling lost right now. I've tried dating and have been on a lot of dates, but they've all been bad or wrong. People around me have been setting me up with divorced dads, and no offense to them, but I can't do that again. I actually had one date which felt more like an interview for a nanny role. It made me so depressed. Stepdaughter is doing great though, and that brings me a lot of joy. I'm a little scared of the time soon when she'll move out, and it'll just be me in this big house. I've talked to stepson on the phone a couple of times. That boy has grown up and changed so much, it feels like we were separated for years. He's going to come over for a sleepover during the Halloween weekend, and I'm pretty excited about that. Stepdaughter was going to babysit him at X's place while he travels, but I okayed having him with us since it's Halloween. Okay folks, and now for a final update, posted almost 2 years later. I don't know if anybody will see this update after all this time, but I had left this at a sad note a couple of years ago, and that doesn't feel right. I had stepped away from Reddit because I was getting quite a bit of negative messages, some people making fun of me and calling me names. Most of you have been so amazing and helpful, but a few mean messages still got to me. My life has been good since then. I had stopped dating and gave up on online apps. I did well with making a few friends and staying busy with having an active life, a good career and hobbies. Eventually I met my current partner on a hiking trip. My daughter has been a constant ray of sunshine in my life, and we're very close. She introduces me to people as her adopted mum, lol, and I don't refer to her as Step. She's doing great at college. She's growing into an awesome person, and my home is her home when she visits from school. Things are a bit more complicated with my former stepson. He's been upfront that he doesn't want me as a parental figure in his life and is not interested in being close to me. I respect that. I still stay in touch with him, but as a distant friend. We exchange jokes and sometimes we get together for dinner. He's in therapy for depression and anger issues, so I don't want to let go of him completely. Regarding the guy I'm with now, this is by far the best romantic relationship of my life, and I'm very happy. I'm pregnant now, 2nd trimester, and we're both excited. The pregnancy was unexpected, but I'm thrilled about it. I was trying so hard to get pregnant in my previous marriage, and all that trying and medical interventions didn't help, and now I'm pregnant despite condoms. The relationship is still new, and I'm treading carefully. One of the best parts is that his family is amazing. His parents are very sweet and accepting people who already treat my daughter as their grandchild, and are very excited about the baby. And what a great final update. Things are on the up. Let's read some final comments. How in the world did anyone think it was OP's responsibility to parent the stepson and not his two actual parents? And the world came right. Thank goodness for OP. She needed some wins. I hope her baby is the happy, healthy, good sleeper kind. M and the ex need some karma and would optimally receive it once the son has some more age, therapy, and supports enough to get some space from them while they circle the drain. They are gross people, content to ruin their own children's lives. This poor woman, she says she doesn't understand their actions, but it's pretty clear. They wanted to keep her around to take care and pay for the children none of them wanted to care for, while they banged each other and lived their life. I'm sorry for her and angry at the crap she got while being the only decent adult in this crap show, and glad things have gotten better since then. Glad Opie got out of there okay. I was worried when stepson showed her. Also glad she got to keep stepdaughter. It's obvious that the best part of her marriage was getting to take that child. It's almost funny how her keeping the daughter was a complete non-issue in the divorce because neither parent gave a single F about their children. Did I say funny? That's freaking sad, actually. I think about these posts so often, and I'm so glad that Opie is doing so much better. The frickin' nerve of her ex and his ex, the audacity, and those poor children. with their parents so obviously uninterested in being their parents, and their dad basically marrying a nanny for them and expecting her to stay a nanny after divorce. I know she wanted that divorce quickly, but the fact that she's solely housing and caring for a child that isn't hers, she should have tried to get support. Yeah, well, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this one. Let me know down below. Anyway guys, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.